There's a reason that the Wall Street Journal, run by Rupert Murdoch, has picked this moment in time to stick the shiv in Donald Trump and to go after him. It wasn't by accident. Nothing gets published in the Wall Street Journal without Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch's permission. And they have decided to lay out the case against Donald Trump and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not saying they're co-conspirators, but there are factual elements and milestones that are important to that relationship, which help explain, if you will, the cover-up of the pedophilia scandal that's going on before our very eyes in plain sight with this administration, who has other people in the administration who are also connected to Jeffrey Epstein. At the same time, people that were connected to Epstein that used to be in the Trump administration, like Alex Acosta, the labor secretary, formerly the U.S. attorney who cut the deal with Epstein, Maureen Comey, James Comey, the FBI director's daughter, just gets fired. She prosecuted Ghislaine Maxwell. We break it all up and put it back together and explain it on Legal AF, the podcast. And here's a clip. The Wall Street Journal parent company owned by Murdoch came out so strongly and said, we stand by the rigorousness of our reporting and we retract nothing. So the story headline should be Murdoch, or revenge is a, to paraphrase Tony Soprano, the great philosopher, revenge is like cold cuts. Murdoch has been looking for a way to shiv Donald Trump since Jan 6th and since the $787 million Dominion settlement that the Fox News and the Fox Corporation had to settle because of all of the team crazies around Donald Trump taking to the air and being put on willingly by Fox for ratings purposes, including through Tucker Carlson, Bartiromo, Lou Dobbs, to push the big lie of a conspiracy involving Dominion voting systems and Smartmatic and flipping votes from Trump to Biden. That led to a settlement in Delaware after all of those emails and text messages came pouring out into the public because they got filed as part of a summary judgment motion in Delaware. And everybody did poorly on the Murdoch family side in their depositions in those cases. And those videos and those transcripts all came out. And people got fired, including Tucker Carlson, separated and all of that. That did not sit well with Rupert Murdoch, who said out loud and has not denied that he made this statement, that when Jan 6th happened, he hoped this would completely put an end to Donald Trump's political career once and for all. Or in his words, it is time to make Trump a non-person. That's now 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. That's where the revenge part is a dish best eaten cold comes in. Now they go to Murdoch and say, we want to run this article. He gives the green light. He's already calculated that he will win the war against Donald Trump, that whatever MAGA wanted to leave has left Fox News already, that they have more money than Donald Trump does. And this is the final breach. What I love about the story is that factually, Murdoch was being hosted about a day or two earlier in that big FIFA soccer match bullshit up in New Jersey that Donald Trump tried to use for public adulation and ended up getting booed during. Rupert Murdoch was up there with Trump. I'm sure he didn't whisper to him, hey, we're going to run an article you may not like. Now, the last piece, before I turn it back to you on the lawsuit, is that I'm not so sure that it's coincidental that within a day of Wall Street Journal contacting the Trump administration and its press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, and Donald Trump denying the story, that all of a sudden, Maureen Comey, James Comey's daughter, who prosecuted Ghislaine Maxwell, gets fired before, and a day later, the story comes out. Now, I'm not saying I have credible evidence at the moment that Maureen Comey is the corroborator for the story. Of course, now she's out in the wind. But somebody involved with the prosecution, according to the Wall Street Journal, FBI, DOJ, confirmed the scrapbook's existence, that page's existence sufficiently that they didn't say alleged. They said in the headline, there was a birthday album for Epstein, and Trump's card was in it. The fact that they went so balls out, continuing our blue streak here on the podcast, that indicates to me that they know they've got the evidence and they'll survive. You and I can get into over the course of this podcast the different defenses, fair reporting, truth, actual malice that they will obviously bring up. And then I'll give you later, maybe after our first break, my own theory about why this was filed in Miami.
Trump's defense to the article is like how a toddler tries to defend that they weren't the one who dropped the vase or the vase on the floor and cracked it. And he comes up with, it couldn't have been me. I can't even reach it. And it's like, well, yes, it's like that, right? I mean, I've never done a drawing in my life. And it's
wait. He actually, before you run the clip, you've done a lot of great reporting about the decline of Donald Trump's mental faculties and status. He said he never wrote a picture before. All right. Even my toddler knows, and you and I have toddlers, even my toddler knows you don't write a picture, you draw a picture. All right, go ahead.
But then, well, there's not a clip. It's just, here's the photo of him drawing like the money tree. I think we have a photo of that. I mean, the guy doodles all the time, and all these photos of buildings, and he loves sending people doodles. Like that's that's one of his things. Yeah. And you're able to easily dig this up. So I showed you before, he uses the word enigma a lot, and he doodles a lot. So that's kind of an odd defense. But let's just go back and just say, like let's just assume for the sake of argument that the Wall Street Journal, let's just assume they got it wrong. And let's just say it was false.
You mean for the sake of argument?
For the sake of argument, just say
okay.
it. Why would this even be defamatory as it relates to Donald Trump? Donald Trump's out there being quoted saying that Epstein is a great guy who likes women on the younger side. Okay. Donald Trump.
1 year before the card was sent.
Exactly. Donald Trump. I'll show you this story from The Guardian. What's worse? Okay. What I'm about to read you, or, and by the way, what I'm about to read you happened right around the time of that alleged letter being sent, right. or a birthday letter saying enigma and our secrets. Enigma and secrets in the context of Epstein's running a sex trafficking ring, is like, well, that's kind of a strange language to be using, secrets and enigma at that time. But this is what happened at that time. So you had this guy named George Arani. He was a businessman whose American Dream Calendar Girl beauty contest was running in Vegas casinos since 1978. And he recalls encountering Epstein at Mar-a-Lago in January 1993. Arani says that Trump asked him to organize a party that month with some of his pageant's finalists, promising to invite heads of modeling agencies and prospective sponsors for his competition. He had me fly in all these girls and gave me a $30,000 budget for airfares and limos to pick them up at the airport. The girls were all decked out, expecting to meet all these VIPs. But after an hour at the party, Arani says, there seemed to be only one other guest, Epstein. I was like, Donald, where are the other guys? What's going on here? And he said, well, this is it. Arani says he realized this is basically just a Jeffrey Epstein party. Or how about this, around the same time period? He would comment on their genitals. Trump is accused of forcing models to walk on restaurant tables so he could stick his head up their skirt. What about Epstein's former girlfriend, Kyler? She was just on CNN, and she says, I'm not Kyler Williams. She was on the show with Kyler. And she goes, Epstein, they were bros. She goes, I was around Epstein. They were bros. Trump was the wingman. Epstein was Trump's wingman. This is the girlfriend of Epstein, or one of Epstein's former girlfriends. Here, play this clip.
And how did Epstein talk about Trump? Sort of what was the quality of those anecdotes and how he described him?
Well, there was a time when he mentioned that he had to check in on him because he was unwell and very upset about something that had happened. I remember because he was late to pick me up and he was explaining why he was late. They were just, it was such a long time ago, but it was just that was his bro, that was his wingman. It was clearly, I'd hear about Ghislaine and I'd hear about Jeffrey. And I met Ghislaine in his house. She would come wafting in and out, the home in New York. So he was clearly just someone that he talked about all the time. And again, I met Jeffrey the second time and we started dating based on the reintroduction that happened at the Plaza Hotel at a Christmas party in 1992 that Donald Trump threw. And they were very, very close.
Okay, so my broader point, though, is again, let's just say Wall Street Journal, even though I believe they had rigorous standards for this, let's say they whiffed. Okay. All of the stuff that I just showed you is out there as undisputed facts that exist, pretty much out there. So the question is, what are Trump saying a letter that says that is somehow defamatory? What you're saying, that you weren't friends with Epstein during that period? I want to analyze that because I think it's an important element. Then I want to analyze, Popok, the discovery that this opens up Pandora's box to Donald Trump's relationship with Epstein. It could factor Ghislaine Maxwell as a key witness, and she can speak her part right now. You can do depositions in prison.
The dumbest lawsuit I've ever seen. Welcome back. We sit at the intersection, we used to say, of law and politics. Now it is we're more like a firewall to protect our democracy. And now more than ever, we need our audience to step forward and support the show. Ben Meiselas and I founded the show 5 years ago on the Midas Touch Network. We founded the Legal AF YouTube channel together. You see what's happening to mainstream corporate media. People, talent, no matter how high up, how apex they are getting fired for speaking their mind against this administration. That'll never happen here with your support because we have no outside investors. We don't have a corporate parent. We don't have a paywall. We just need support. So there's a number of ways to do that. Come on over to the audio versions of Legal AF. And hit the subscribe button there. We do the show twice a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And you'll set the reminders and the likes and the subscribes all over there on the audio versions. YouTube, really, really important these days. I mean, we're in the top 20 of YouTube rankings, but we need to stay there in order to be relevant, in order to be large enough so that your voice is heard. And so we ask you to support the YouTube versions as well. Legal AF, the YouTube channel, which I co-founded with Ben Meiselas and his brothers as well, that I curate, needs help, right? Well, I don't mean in a bad way. It just needs continued support, I guess is a better way to put it. We just crossed the 700,000 barrier for subscribers. We passed the 200 million views or downloads barrier. And now we're trying to get to 1 million before the summer is over. No paywall, no outside investors, no corporate media owns us. Thank God. I don't know if we'd still be on the air if they did. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.